Thank you for joining this joint webinar between Luxoft and ITRS to discuss advanced monitoring for performance, peak trading performance. To give you just a brief idea of what we're going to talk about today, I just want to give a little brief introduction to why Luxoft and ITRS have formed this partnership, and just explain a little bit about the market challenges that both organizations have seen and that the organizations believe we can help the industry to solve by partnering together. We're going to talk a little bit, of course, about what an end-to-end solution to maximize trading performance actually looks like in theory, and just show some value-added features that Luxoft and ITRS have been thinking about, things like intelligent scoring for your trading infrastructure, and to just some thoughts on how you can make things run more smoothly and preempt potential issues. Brief introduction of myself. I'm Rodney Taylor. I manage the partners team here at ITRS within financial services, and I alone could not answer this huge question, and so I have some people with me who certainly can help. So I have some industry heavyweights that I'm sure many of you already know, in Chris Banat and Iadine Elveki. I'll ask them both just to give a brief introduction of themselves, just to give context for those few people on the call who may not have met them already. So Chris.
Hi everyone, yep, Chris here. I run our solution innovation team here at ITRS, and I love creating stuff. I love creating solutions for monitoring, and I reckon I've delivered in 15 years, I reckon I've delivered in the thousands of monitoring solutions to various different companies, various lines of businesses, but typically in the financial services space. I've seen a lot of what I really like and really good stuff, and I've seen a lot of what doesn't work and shouldn't have started in the first place. And so use that experience to come up with the advice that we're going to on this call.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. So we're basically going to use the benefit of your thousands of battle scars on how not to do it.
A lot of scars.
To talk about how maybe to do it. And Iadine, it'd be great to hear from you before we get kicked off.
Yeah, thank you. So Iadine, I lead the trading and risk solutions at Luxoft. So we're a consultancy and technology company, and we operate mainly with financial services. So my team deliver implementation and production support of complex trading systems, the like of Murex, Calypso, Finastra, and similar platforms. So system stability, end of day, batch of reports, how to make sure we have less disruptance on business. Those are core topics we deal with every day, and observability monitoring are something we have been looking at and trying to develop together with ITRS to come with the relevant solutions.
Awesome, thank you so much for that introduction. So guys, we'll get into the meat of the presentation now. If you have any questions as we're going through this, please add them into the questions section, and we will get to them. If we don't get to them in the call, I promise we will follow up with you afterwards. So please, any questions that pop up as we're talking, please ask away. So I'm just going to kick off by talking very briefly about the partnership and why Luxoft and ITRS decided to form this partnership at all. When you think about it at a very high level, you have Luxoft, who absolutely are experts in the trading technology space, so help with implementation and management of trading solutions. As Iadine just mentioned there, that includes looking out for potential pitfalls and making things run as smoothly as possible. So I'm sure alongside their customers, Luxoft have a few battle scars on things that haven't worked out as well. And then aligned with that is ITRS's expertise in the monitoring of trading applications. A very deep and lengthy historical relationship with our customers, going back over 20 years in many cases, of monitoring trading solutions, however complex they may be, and however sometimes old some of the background technology might be. So some really kind of deep expertise both on the business side and the technology side. And the point of that, of course, is if you want to talk about how to create some advanced monitoring for peak trading performance, having that business expertise and that technology expertise really is a perfect partnership. And that's why as both companies were looking around the marketplace to find a good partner, we were lucky enough to find each other at the right moment. Iadine, maybe be interesting to hear from you a little bit more, a bit of context about that and some of the business value and why that kind of partnership matters to customers.
Yeah, exactly. So we run we work for around 200 banks. That's our banking and capital market business. And we did ask our clients, actually. We try to understand, going from trading, risk management, maybe core banking or capital market system, uh, uh, what's important for them. And surprisingly, so 38%, and actually in total around 80% think that operational resilience is key, and that goes from top priority to just higher priority. And the reflection of that, so this other statistic that says that people on the ground spend 70 to 80% of their time into running the business, and only 10-15% into change and innovation. And that running the business, most of it is driven by instability in production, bugs, things to fix, and that goes through all the process. There's an issue, how to find the root cause, and then how to fix it, etc. So the resiliency and stability is a key topic there. Around 80% of our senior stakeholders struggle to understand, get insights from the applications. Those applications have been built over time, bespoke, third party, and they different technologies, they cover different areas. It's like a spaghetti kind of dish, and they're unable to understand what's going on, and that requires a lot of analysis, again, a lot of time and cost. And the last interesting figure here is overall, actually, that this tendency to look for simplicity, visibility, and automation with the objective to improve stability, but also reduce the underlying cost. Yeah, so it's again, as usual, is about more efficiency, less cost, more stability, and more time spent on innovation and generating revenue. So why the other monitoring solutions or initiatives haven't been so successful? And to be honest, that's a bit what we think now, and me personally, after 20 years working in this area. So we see different initiatives within banks, vendors. What happens is primarily is a lack of skills and difficulty to accessing different platforms, especially the third-party platforms. They come with their proprietary technology and data models, and they have their own vocabulary. And the same thing is called in different ways in different systems. So people are focusing on configuration, but they, by the time we go to the infrastructure team and to the IT team who run monitoring tools across all the bank, when it comes to the capital market space, it's the depth is very low. So they can have very good solutions for CRM, for maybe back office solutions, and more generic web, maybe portals, etc. When it comes to the trading and risk management platforms, it becomes complex because it contains market data, end of day reports, and the process, the trade life cycle is complex. Also, the confirmation process, settlement process, reconciliation, and they get a bit confused. And yeah, what they do actually is the initiatives, they come in a way where it's too many parameters maybe are measured, or too technical parameters. In the end, it's just the memory, CPU, etc. So there's no ability to make decisions, or from those metrics. So they are there, but the business or the production support team or the back office team is not able to make decisions based on those parameters, etc. Now, and each time they try to go into a bit more advanced design or something that involves business and IT, the question there is, okay, this has a cost. So how to quantify the return on investment and the business impact? And it always goes, the backlog of banks is very heavy with regulatory requirements and all the change, etc. And this monitoring also comes onto a second or third priority. Yeah. So those are the general observations. So what we did with ITRS, we said, listen, let's combine forces and create a relevant solution. We did define guiding principles for the design. So the first one is keep it simple. Also, it needs to be something aligned between business and IT. Second thing is, what we want here is a dashboard that allows decision making, and we always approach it from that perspective. Does this metric help me to make a decision, and what decision is it? Purge a database, or improve the, add some indexes on a report to accelerate it, or so that decision is very important. Also, we know that initial investment, from a level 1 to 10 is difficult to do this 1 to 6, 1 to 7, because it requires a lot of design and building the solution. So we did it. It's a plug and play, and we come with something that covers 70 to 80% of any trading and risk management activity needs, and it's up and running in days, if not weeks. That's it. And then it's incremental and scalable. So it can integrate with any other platforms. It's fully open, is cloud ready, and can be incremented over time. And our objective is to, beyond monitoring, is to offer more perspectives. So we provide a holistic view with the ability to drill down to the level of a log file or an error message, and that's in the same tooling. Also, we did emphasize preventive monitoring. We measure trends, let's say trends of the database size or the number of confirmations being sent every day, and we can capture patterns. We say, you see, if we continue in this trend, an issue will happen in 3 weeks. So we know all what it means. We have 3 weeks to fix the issue before even it happens, and we know how valuable it is to fix things before they happen. Also, we want to transition from, the wording here we use monitoring, which is a bit technical, observability, which is another term used on the market, but reality, what everyone is looking at now is operational resiliency. So also elevating the solution to be able to address that operational resiliency. That's what we want. And cloud readiness. So today, is not just about the stability of the platform and the monitoring, but also when we go to cloud, clients are asking us to be able to monitor the cost of consuming data or cost of calculation, but also how to optimize it. So ability also to stop start environment, put some rules to stop and start environment automatically to optimize that cost, but also how to allocate that cost by budget. For example, we say this is an IT environment, or this is a production environment, this is a front office environment. So have more transparency on that cost allocation across different departments. So I stop here, but as you can see, so we come from a pain point or something that has been a bit overlooked over time, and we try to come with a tangible solution that we'll demo in this presentation.
Thank you. I think that's a brilliant summary of the business value that could be generated by this. I wonder if it might be a nice time, Chris, to delve into what some of the challenges of getting that benefit. Like, why isn't this happening already? What is it about the way in which technology has been used to solve specific tasks within the trade workflow rather than the overall business benefits that's made this such a complex challenge to solve?
Yeah, it's hard to achieve that business value that Ian was talking to, because it's complexity. Complexity of what the business is doing. Trading is complex. Complexity of the technology that's behind it. You've got legacy technology that hasn't been touched in 30 years. You've got cloud, brand new technology, all in one. It's really hard. And another thing with complexity is a lack of understanding. Ian mentioned the word observability. The definition of observability is understanding. It's really easy to understand one operating system and what it's doing. It's really hard to understand a distributed system with multi-technology, multi-environment, and multi-business function. Like you can see the screen at the moment, there's a lot of boxes there and a lot of arrows going all over the place. That's hard to do. And the trick is to take lots and lots of data points and turn it into meaningful information, which is when then you can kind of move on to knowledge and wisdom. It's really hard to. It's really easy to create a wall of noise and a wall of data. It's really hard to create simple information, and simple information does not come from your systems. You need to interpret the data coming from the systems to create simple information. The world of DevOps and observability isn't there yet, where everything that you get from the system is understandable. There's a lot of business analysis and business rules and operational correlation that needs to happen to make that information understanding. So in a word, complexity on every level.
So sorry.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so how does that kind of manifest itself to the users out there, or the people responsible for this operational resilience? Well, the first one is issue escalation. It's a classic example where someone receives a phone call or a help desk ticket of an issue from a client before they knew about it. You know, that's the worst case scenario. And then once you do know about the issue, then what challenges then do you then face? Well, it's how long does it take to do that, to resolve that issue? And it quite often takes too long to resolve because of the lack of understanding, because it's complex. Why does it take too long? Well, quite often you've got a lot of gaps. You've got a lot of systems here and a lot of different tools here and a lot of different, it's very easy to miss something. And it's really frustrating to kind of like not know where to start. Where do you start your investigations? And then you end up wasting a lot of time as well, jumping between tools, checking this, when it wasn't that, then you're checking that. So that's kind of like taking those business values challenges that Ian was talking about. That's how it manifests itself to the user.
I think that's a really good overview of an abstract idea of how the complexity is making it difficult to deal with this as an end-to-end solution. So these four groups of issue escalation, resolution time, issue diagnosis, and wasted time, I think are four general themes that apply to most general trading teams. But could you bring that to life with a specific example?
Yeah. So, you know, if you look at the screen at the moment, this is a typical trading environment where you've got a load of application systems and stuff in pink, you've got some infrastructure there, you've got some network, you've got interfaces coming in, you've got the data as well. It's not just the platform. I mean, the platform should be doing what it's doing, but then what's going through the platform is how your business data integrity, you know, do you have any fat finger issues, or do you have any naming convention issues? How are your flows? How are your messages going through your flows? There's multiple flows. You've got trading flows, payment flows, lots of different flows. So there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. And you know, a really simple example here is where you've got a market data issue. So these arrows on the left, this is stuff that's coming into your system. You don't have much control of this. So this data is coming into your system, but you're super dependent on it. If you've got something wrong with your market data, like a stale price, or, you know, your market data, or an index that hasn't worked, you know, isn't configured correctly to deal with what's coming through the ticks, then that's going to start affecting the services that are running, your trading application services, which will then start messing up your flow, your messages going through the system. It'll start messing up your trades. And that's like bad news now, because now you're starting to affect the business. Like, we're not talking about your trading services anymore. We're talking about the actual business data going through your system, which will then start. Then the follow-on impact of that is your trade reporting, and your end of days are going to go wrong. And then your business activity trends are going to start getting negatively affected. And then you're in the world of incident resolution and incident ticketing. And, you know, this then ultimately leads to those a negative impacts to those business activity trends, which then leads to all of those business value problems that Ian mentioned. So a simple market data issue ends up messing up your business activity.
I'll just bring Ian here for some comment as well. Ian, does that resonate with the sort of challenges that kind of Luxoft see out in the wild with their customers?
Yeah, exactly. And I will just refocus on one notion that Chris mentioned is we want to move from an application monitoring to a trading activity monitoring. Yeah, so it's not just about monitoring of individual solutions, but is having this understanding of the end-to-end trade life cycle. The business is not interested on individual applications, yeah, but they want to know, end of the day, are the confirmations sent to the counterparties? Yes, no. How many are still there? regardless of the underlying system. Now, when there's an issue, they want to capture it, and then we can drill down and get exactly to the log file where there's an issue. But the primary entry point needs to be the business process, and the solution was created with this perspective.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. So, one of the objectives of this webinar is to kind of do a bit of knowledge sharing and thought leadership on how you come up with these solutions. So, in order to capture that business process sort of context or lens on what's happening, the approach that you need to take here is to look at what those business objectives are. Your system availability risk, your system performance risk, your trading performance, and your operational cost pressure. Build a solution to meet those operational resilience objectives. The reason why a lot of people don't end up with this rich data and end up with a very IT-centric solution is because they come from it from a user perspective. Like, what do I need to do my job? And that's a very siloed approach. What you should be doing is what's needed to address operational resilience. Again, I'll say those 4 things again: system availability, system performance, trading performance, and your operating cost pressure. If you come at it from the objective perspective, you'll end up coming up with a solution which you can then map to your user base, your teams that you have, how you've got your operational structure, because every bank's set up differently. So don't come at it from a what do I need from a team perspective. Come at it from an operational resilience perspective, and then the teams will see what's needed for them.
Well, I think that's a really nice segue into thinking about how we solve this. So I think, we understand the value to the business. We understand that there are challenges with the traditional approach. If one was to go around building a solution to solve this end-to-end monitoring issue, how would you go about doing it in theory?
Yeah, so look at those operational resilience objectives and work out what's needed to do. And what you'll end up having is something that looks like this. It's a bit of a 3-tiered system where, I'll start down the bottom. You've got low-level investigative views. This is where you've got thousands, tens of thousands of individual KPIs, whether they be traces, whether they be metrics, whether they be messages. That's the low-level information, but that's where you want to end up at. That's not where you want to start, and that's the problem that a lot of people have. Is it's really easy to collect data, and go and do it yourself for free. Go and write some scripts. It's really easy to collect data, but data is not information, which is not knowledge. So having a wall of metrics is not going to help you reduce that time to resolution, because you don't know where to start. So you start at the top where you've got that consolidated single pane of glass. That's the overview. We call that the jigsaw puzzle of your trading application. And that tells you instantly where the problem is, which instantly, and remember, it's all about operations. You can have the best trading system in the world, but if you don't know what to do with it, it's worthless. So because of that single pane of glass at the top, you can exactly see where the problem is and who is accountable for dealing with it and where you need to go to get the problem fixed. So much of mean time to issue resolution for performance is because you don't know where to go. You don't know how to operationally fix it. Someone might know the fix, but you need to identify the right person to fix it. And so that's where you need that single pane of glass, instant understanding of where the problem is, who's accountable for it, and it's all in one common language. You don't have a database guy talking database language, a network guy talking a network language, and a business support guy talking business language, where no one understands what each other's talking about, and they're just blaming each other. With that consolidated single pane of glass, you alleviate all of that problem, and that's your golden ticket to reduce that time to resolution. But then you need to get to the detail somehow, which is where we do those focus dashboards here. And so again, if you think about what do you need for operational resilience, you've got your system performance, your system availability, trading performance. So break it up into modules, and the easiest place to start is cause and effect. And I would start on the effect first, because I think the cause is generally easier. Start what affects your business. And so on the right hand side, you'll see some dedicated modules to your business activity trends, your volumes, That gives you the context of what's happening. Does an application support person need to know how many confirmations were done today to fix an issue? No, but they do need to know that to understand the context and the impact of the issue, which means it will get done quicker. And then you've got service impact. So this is all about your business service performance, user performance. What are your customers and your user base feeling? That's what that service impact one does. We're not talking IT here. We're talking business volumes, or we're talking user impact here. None of that's IT. And then we go into the trade flows. How are your trade flows being affected, or your payment flows, whatever the message flows that you're dealing with? That's the effect of what's happening. And then this is kind of where the magic happens. What's the cause of that effect? So you can see the effect of what's happening. It's the dashboards on the left. You've got your platform and administration, like auditing, change management, end of day information. You know, that's what's going to be causing your problems on the right. So why is something red on the right? Because of whatever's red on the left. That's how you get to the root cause. But if you have all of this in real time, yeah, because you've got this kind of correlation here, you can do it the other way around. Fix something on the left first, the cause, before it turns into an effect. And that's another, so you won't get that phone call saying, I've got a problem with my client before you know about it. So it's context. It means understanding. Without this understanding, you just have a load of data that you don't understand. And to get to this kind of module, again, high level context, focus, low level cause and effect to reach those business objectives. And then you can map your users. So you've got application support, middle office, back office support, environment management, security and admin. Correlate those against this, and they don't just see what they need, they see everything around them as well.
Thanks. I think that's a really interesting solution, this idea that you can get from this single kind of pane of glass down into some intelligence and then right down into the weeds if you need to, can obviously add value. Maybe go over to Iadine now. You know, Iadine, I know you and Chris have put a lot of thought into what a solution might look like for an end-to-end solution that can improve trading performance. What kind of parts of this solution do you think are important to your customers? Any highlights for you?
Yeah, so what we see here is around 6 screens. I think we have 3 or 4 more. And actually, looking at them, I know we spent 6 to 9 months to build them with ITRS, and they are just the summary and the concentration of all the knowledge or our understanding of how a capital market trading activity works, and each screen here targets a certain audience. Platform and admin, for example, is for the supervisor. End of day is for the production support team. Trade workflow is more for the middle office and the back office teams. Service impact is more for managers and from a business perspective, etc. So we actually, our first exercise before even thinking the monitoring, what we did is, who are the stakeholders involved in the trading activity, and what issues they face during the day or during the end of day, and what kind of decisions they would want to take. And from there, we cascaded and we little by little started consolidating, all the data needed for a certain type of stakeholders, and put all that data together for them to be able to read it easily with color coding also on green, 3 color coding, like green, all good, warning, and an error. And then again, all those screens are clickable, so they can click and drill down and until they reach really the detailed that we see at the low level. So what I wanted to say here is again is that what we built is something that allows decision making. And I'm sorry if I'm using a lot this wording, because this is really what has been always missing. We see a lot of metrics everywhere. What to do with it? Over time, people just ignore them and continue business as usual. So we wanted to change this reality and make those metrics can be translated into actions as much as possible.
That's so right. This isn't that, so that you cannot make decisions at that low level. You need the low level information to resolve the issue, but you can't make decisions to get to that low level. So you're right, Edith, those dashboards, they're not just information that we thought was useful. We put ourselves, or you did, because you've got the expertise here, you put yourselves in the user's shoes of what decisions they would make. So that top dashboard is providing in the first level of decision information they needed. The focus dashboards then provided the next level of decision information they needed. So yeah, the decision process really did drive what goes on these screens.
Well, I think this is great. Thanks, guys. It's a really, really interesting. I wonder if we can bring this to life. Should we get some software out and show how one might configure this? What do you think?
Let's see if I can use the screen.
So I think those screenshots are obviously from something that we've as Iadine and Chris have just mentioned, the solution that we've crafted between ITRS and Luxoft. Let's have a look at this live.
So here's the solution for real. I'll take you through one scenario, but I'll show you these screens at the moment. So here's that jigsaw puzzle with your overview. So like I said, this is not just your trading platform. This is everything you need. The trading platform is just the engines, the databases, and the admin stuff. It's all of your interfaces coming in, your end of day, your user impact, and so on. And down here, another thing that I wanted to focus on here was, like, this jigsaw puzzle tells you what's happening. Down here, because we have the our monitoring expertise and Luxoft's trading expertise, we've created some SLIs, some service level indicators for performance and availability from all of these KPIs. So we've given you our opinion on what relates to performance and what that relates to availability. So you've got all of this stuff going wrong here. What's the impact? Well, you've got very little performance impact. Most of what's going on here is relating to availability. So depending on what team you are, this helps you decide what to do, because some teams are all about performance and some teams are all about availability. So there's that one. This is those business activity trends, where you can see how you're performing. Those service level, there's a load of synthetic tests that we're doing here for your trading services and your users. This is that trade flow, which I'll take you through in a second in the scenario. Your kind of IT level and audit level information. And then here's an end of day. Again, you've got a pre-end of day checks here that need to be in place, how long's left, and then your end of day to go through it. So let's look at one scenario. We've got trade flow information here. I can see here, these are my nodes going through my end-to-end nodes from within the trading platform. You can expand this to other nodes to go outside of the trading platform. You're sending it messages, they're coming back as acknowledgements, and I can see my end-to-end latency here. I can see I've got 2 slow trades within these 2 checkpoints, these measurement points. So what's causing this? Well, it could be a network issue between these 2 nodes. Well, we have network data here as well, click-throughs into the data network. It could be a data integrity issue that's causing these trades to fail, and so they're currently appearing as slow, and sooner or later they'll be lost. Well, we've covered that down here in terms of some metadata checks that we're doing. But it could be the tasks. It could be the processes that are processing these trades. So I can click on this. This will then take me down to the low-level investigative view, which in typical demo circumstances has appeared on my other screen. So hold on a second. Here we go. So this is that low-level information where I can see all of my information, and these are specifically my slow trades. These are the message IDs and which nodes they were in, and which tasks they're in. So now I can go and check my task monitoring. Here's my task monitoring, and I can see the performance of these individual tasks. And what I can also do is you can operationalize lots of commands here, and I can view the slow tasks, the slow trades within that task. So what you've got, here we go. These are all of the trades, the trade IDs within the slow tasks. So if I go back to that dashboard, what we've done is we've tackled the problem from 2 different points of view. I've lost my mouse. Hold on. Oh, I have lost my mouse. So I've got my task information, and I can show you the trades that were in the tasks, or I've got my message information and which tasks are that message is in. So you're attacking the problem from 2 different ways. So yeah, that was the one scenario that I wanted to show. And as you can see, that's quite hard to understand in tabular data, which is kind of why you needed this scenario to take you through to get to where the problem was.
Excellent, thanks, Chris. That really brings it to life. We have had some questions come in actually. So if we could go back to the presentation and we'll start going through some of these questions. I guess the first one I'll throw over to Iadine actually. So Iadine, we've had a question come in that says, what sort of trading applications would this solution work for? It's a pretty good question.
Yeah, so we have implemented it on those third-party software vendors that that require advanced monitoring capabilities. So I mentioned earlier, like the like of Murals, Calypso, or Finastra. So we are able to. It's a non-intrusive. What's important to understand is this solution. So the dashboard is the kind of IP, and they are really precious because they, as I said, the concentration of a lot of thinking and understanding of how decision making can be done in an easy way. The underlying data can be acquired from any system, reality, and it's a non-intrusive platform. Yeah, so it's really getting data from different points, and every system will make that data available either through SQL or in some log files or CSV. So we can adjust very quickly to any of the platforms. But again, the mindset was built in alignment with the major trading platforms existing on the market today, namely Murals, Calypso, Finastra, Summit, Sophis, Condor, Orchestrate, and those kind of platforms.
Awesome, thanks. I'm gonna paraphrase to say any trading application. And I guess just following on that from that.
No, it's important because sorry to. I mean, some monitoring tools. I said this at the very start. Monitoring a web portal or a CRM or a Jira platform, that's a complete different game than managing a trading platform, because it's really, I mean, what happens during the day, it doesn't stop. So from all the market data feeds, all the upstream, downstream interfaces, the preparation for the end of day. During the end of day, a massive amount of calculations and processes are run in parallel or in series. And there's a logic of, if a job fail, what happens then? What we can restart, what blocks the end of day. There are cutoff times within the bank to observe, and if we breach those cutoff times, there's some impact within the bank. And all the preparation of that, by the time we are in the afternoon, how many confirmations are blocked in the workflow, how many settlements are not done. And when you add all those parameters together, plus the technical stuff, which is the size of the database, how the CPU is performing, how the, it can go as low as the access rights. Did the access rights on the files change during the day because maybe of some script or someone did the manual mistake? And all those small mistakes, we pay them very expensively in the end of day or in the evening, because something is failing, and then we spend the full morning trying to understand what happened, and then in the end we say, oh, this script didn't run because the access right used to be 777, now it's 776. Okay, let's fix it, restart again. But in the meantime, we have 30 people wasted half a day to fix the issue. So if I have something like this, what we built here, that before the end of day, I just have a small alert telling me a warning, pay attention, that file actually, the access right on that file changed during the day. And someone will go and check fix it, say, okay, it's fine, it's a known difference, or say, oh no, let's fix it. Imagine the time saving that we have on the following day. So and those devil is in the details, and the trading and risk management systems come with a lot of details, and that's what we try to approach here through this solution, and make those details simple and convertible into simple dashboards.
Yeah, and I think to echo that, like you said, it's a really complex environment and it's a complex system. Most monitoring solutions really only kind of show you the data that they're collecting from the platform itself. So it's that IT data, it's that that database data. I reckon for our solution, only about 50% of our solution is IT data. The other 50% is made up of business data and operational data. And it's and that's the difference between, that takes you from the realms of monitoring into observability, because, observability is taking every aspect of your operational resilience, so which is people, it is tools, it is processes, and the data itself. It's all of those things in this system that we've got. It's not just IT data, which is typically what you would get off the shelf from a generic monitoring offering.
Brilliant, thanks guys. Keep the questions coming in. We've got a few more here already. So this question, solution looks great. So well done, that's good. Thank you for that. How much time does it take to implement this, and is it scalable? I'm going to guess that is a question from a large, complex bank. But do you want to talk a little bit about implementation and scalability?
Yes, it is. So direct answer, it can take 1 to 2 weeks to install. So you're talking like days. It needs to a couple of weeks to install it. And why do you need that time? So basically, any monitoring system, you pretty much, they all have the same challenge, those business challenges and those user challenges that we went through. It doesn't really what the training platform is, those challenges still apply. And the solution that we've offered meets those challenges. It's just the plumbing that needs to be slightly tweaked depending on whether it's Calypso or whether it's Murex or one of the other platforms. So that implementation time is just to make plumbing tweaks. The fundamental business analysis, I think Ian mentioned it, but like one of these solutions, it took us like 9 months, not 9 months of man effort, but 9 months of duration to do the business analysis, to work out those decision processes, to work out what's important so you don't just see everything. That's the hard work, and all of that's been done. This is now an implementation exercise, so 1 to 2 weeks.
Impressive. Is that a promise?
We think so.
You're on the record now.
I think it's brilliant. I challenge anyone to come up with something that come again. I know we are very proud of what we achieved it. This is not just IT data; it's operational data and business data and IT data all together.
There's another question actually, which is kind of it's 2 questions actually quite closely related to that. So maybe I'll group these together. So one is, how easy is it to customize the impact measures? And the other here is, will the trade flows dashboard work for any firm's trading configuration? So I guess this is a more general about, okay, so the solution's out of the box, you can implement in 2 weeks, but what are the edges of it? What else can you do?
So there's always a bespoke element to every single implementation. Even if you had the same trading platform across 2 different users, 2 different financial institutions, there will be like a 20% customizable, maybe 30% customizable element to them, the way they're using the platform. So everything that you've seen will work out of the box, but you might want some more stuff added to it. You might have some additional modules that only you have, or you might have some custom modules that you've developed yourself that some trading platforms allow you to do that. So again, because we're a monitoring company that have been around like 25 years now, we've got like over 100 different, we call them plugins, monitoring capabilities, whether that be vendor products, whether that be toolkits, APIs, SQLs, all that kind of stuff. So we can cope with any additional customized elements. So everyone will need what we've got, but they will want more, and we can add that extra bit onto.
And maybe, Ian, to bring you in on this one as well, I guess one of the things that related to all of those points is you know, if customers are looking to think about KPIs and KPOs and work with someone who has expertise in how you might set those and what you might want to measure, how much would Luxoft be able to help with that sort of customization as well?
Yeah, so I think what's important to understand is what we have here covers 70-80% of the need. That's our assessment. And my recommendation is that initially any installation has to focus on leveraging what's there already before even thinking about customizations. Understand it, adopt the dashboards, probably ask for some improvement or adaptations of the wording or the way things are shown, because every bank has its own organization. I mean, in some banks, middle office and back office are one team. In some other banks, they are separate. Production support team can be closer to the business or closer to IT, depending on how that's organized. In some areas in the bank, there's only one application integrated, covering front to back. In some other banks, it's maybe multiple applications, separate applications covering front and back. So we want first to make that really work as part of the this out-of-the-box solution. That's important. Now, from that point, and once it's adopted and it's settled and everyone knows where to go and how that, also when we say decision-making process is there's one part which is the person who looks at the data and say, I need that decision, but then what's the flow within the bank to move from I need that decision to happen to, you know, and this is what needs to be done to do it, and then let's test this action and then let's deploy it into production, etc. So that flow is a change management exercise within the bank to make sure that when a decision is made, it's also implemented in the system. So all that will take some time, and that will be our area of focus. So once that's done, I think the rest is easy. So this solution can be integrated with anything, literally anything. Like it can go from a GMS queue to MQ series queue, FTP files, point-to-point system, CSV, XML, etc. So we can integrate with anything. There's a large dictionary of other dashboards that come within the application. So we can run sessions where we show those dashboards, and they can cover. We can monitor, for example, a Bloomberg real market data. So there's a plugin that monitors the Bloomberg market data with all technical way, and the in-out, the flow of data, the failure, etc. It's a bit more technical, but if a bank is interested in that, so we can demo showcase that case, which is specific, and then maybe the bank will want to implement that plugin. Same thing if we talk about cloud. I did mention earlier that we have dashboards to monitor budgets and go deep into optimizing also the usage of data on cloud. Not all banks have cloud, so we didn't include that in the by default package, but that's something that can come at a later stage. Some of those alerts also, how to convert them into an automated actions. So once the bank masters the ins and outs of those dashboards and understand what actions to be made, we can go to a point where we automate some of those actions to say, each time there's a missing counterparty, for example, in that trade, and that's why that trade is failing, then I want an email to be sent automatically to that team so that team can insert the counterparty and then we can resend the trade. So a lot of possibilities. It can open the doors to many things, but again, one of the design guiding principles is simplicity. And before opening the doors to those customizations, we want really to make sure that whatever we think simple is fully leveraged by a bank. But it's an open system. We can do anything on it.
Amazing, thank you. And just following on from that, slightly more technical, but almost the same question, can you expand monitoring into other interfaces as well, Chris?
Yeah, so Edie just touched on it. So out of the box, so there's a lot of inbound interfaces into your trading platforms, like trade feed information, reference data, market data, and there's a lot of outbound interfaces as well. In our trading platform, we're monitoring those interfaces from a trading platform perspective. So we're monitoring whether the connection's there, whether there's data flowing through the connection, whether the feeds are being updated, and response times and so on. But if you have those, if you're also hosting those interfaces yourselves, we have those interface platforms, and we have whole other solutions dedicated to those interfaces. So you're going to get a market data interface monitoring solution as part of this trading platform, but we also have a market data solution if you are a market data team. So everything that's coming in and out of the trading platform is also in the scope of our capability. So this is just one solution that we've showed you, but the interfaces is a great way to start expanding what we've done here. And those capabilities exist now. We have solutions off the shelf ready for those other interfaces.
And I guess practically lots of people on this call will already be customers of the technology, and so this is seamlessly going to dovetail with what's already there.
Yeah, exactly.
So another question, I think this might be a nice question to kind of draw to a close because it's about pricing. So I like that. I like people that have jumped to price. It's always good, nice buying signals. So the exact question is, how does the cost work? Does the client pay an ongoing fee, or do they buy the product? Well, two answers to that, I guess. In terms of talking about obviously implementation, consultancy, customization, obviously that's more of a professional services conversation, very much within the expertise of Luxoft, and you know, we'll no doubt be charged on the kind of project by project basis. The actual solution, so if you were to take this solution as we've configured it, it's obviously a software solution, so that's on a subscription basis, as most software is. And so there would be two elements, I guess, to most implementations. You would have your kind of once-off fee for the implementation, any customization that you wanted, any consultancy that you wanted, but then the actual software itself would be on a subscription basis. I guess you know, the key point there is, I'm sure if you're a customer already of Luxoft or ITRS, we would be delighted actually to discuss that with you in more detail, to set up a live demo of the software with Luxoft and ITRS, to come in, or you head to our offices and we'll show you this solution working and delve into the details behind the commercials. I think, though, with that, we have some other questions, but I promise to those people that have asked questions that we haven't got to as yet, we will respond to you in writing and fully, or we will give you a call directly and we'll answer those questions for the ones that we haven't quite managed to get to. But I am going to wrap up there. So first of all, I'd like to thank Chris and thanks Iadine for their expertise today. Thank you both, gentlemen.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, please reach out to us directly. Thank you very much for joining the Advanced Monitoring for Peak Trading Performance, and we look forward to speaking to you again in the future. Thank you and goodbye.